let's get started here with the podcast, Tim. Let's,
Utah in the Weeds.
Utah in the Weeds, episode 28. We have a very special guest, Zac King. He's a Utah medical cannabis patient. You've actually been listening to the podcast since the beginning, I think, huh? Or when did you discover it?
I caught up, I think, after like a couple weeks. I saw, I think, your post online, Chris, and it just really caught my eye. And I was like, that's pretty neat, because I've been listening to Danny Danko online and who else was it? Adam Dunn Show and Rasta Jeff and just a bunch of other really great podcasts as I'm working as a plumber. And I loved that this was about Utah cannabis, because I happen to be a cannabis user and I live in Utah. And I wanted to be legit. And I thought it was such a neat podcast. And I saw that you were looking to see who had experiences with the program. I couldn't help but say that I'd love to share my experiences.
Sure.
Yeah, awesome. We always love to hear from patients. And especially like as we go, we'll skip a few episodes, right, between patients. And it's always good to get an update, because now there are 6 pharmacies open. How many have you been to, Zach?
I just have my letter, and so I've only gone to Wholesome.
Okay, got it.
But they're great.
Yeah,
I love the staff. I tried to get a job there.
Nice.
But
if you're listening,
they're just
Richard.
amazing people, very friendly, very knowledgeable. Anytime I've asked them a question about terpenes or about different minor cannabinoids, they've just piped right in, and they answered about Delta 8 and about all these other different things that I've been really passionate about that have helped change my life. And it's just been a really neat avenue to do so legally.
Right. We were talking a little bit about Delta 8 before, and we had talked to the Ung Family Farms about Delta 8 too. There's a bill, I think there's this discussion about adding Delta 8 to the hemp, to the CBD. Okay.
The total THC.
The total THC. Do you know about that?
I've heard about that. Yes. I think what they're trying to do is they're reacting to the DEA. They came out with a ruling, I think it was a couple months ago. They said that they wanted to include that with their total THC and to consider that not necessarily something that they approve of or that they're fond of. And so I think that right now the Utah people are reacting to what the DEA did. And if the MORE Act were to have actually happened, then this wouldn't even be an issue. You know, right now it just seems that there's certain people that still have that Anslinger mentality of, you know what, we're going to have to fight this, and we don't want to have people being high. You know,
right.
There's just so much taboo. And that's the biggest reason I'm on this podcast is I want to share my experience. I want there to be people that haven't shared their experiences with their family, or that haven't felt like they could do so safely, just to know that there is love. That as I've come to my family, at first they were apprehensive, but they opened up to it, and that a lot of these stereotypes about these cannabinoids and these different things about hemp or THC, people just need to let that go, you know, and to allow people to actually have that plant in their life.
So when did you get introduced to cannabis, man? Like how long ago? Let's share a little bit of the story for people listening. Let's go back, man, that first time.
So I don't encourage this for everybody, but when I started,
classic story, classic way to start.
We all have it.
We all have
that
all
story.
stories. All stories with cannabis seem like start like this.
We'll say it was 1997.
Okay,
and
you know the year. That's awesome.
Nice.
Yeah, I was 13 years old.
Okay.
And as I was going throughout my middle school, I heard different things from different people about this plant, about this herb, and I've always been intrigued by it because I heard about it in Dare, and I've listened to a band called 311 that talked about who's got the herb, and I'm like, what's the herb?
Yeah.
Do I need the herb? And these are great guys, you know. And so I had different things happen. I had a paintball injury when I was 13 as well, and my retina detached, my cornea got cataracts, and I lost the majority of the vision in my left eye, and had major migraines due to that, and also just continual pain, and they reattached my retina, and there's just continual issues with that. But as that happened, I had different changing in my friend status. And so instead of hanging out with the just different crowd, I ended up hanging out with another group that happened to use cannabis. And
the stoners.
A little bit, yeah.
Right.
A little bit of the guys that enjoyed different things like that. And I decided to try it. And it was not a bad experience. I enjoyed it. and I really liked it. And so I did that for a while, for I think until I was about 17. And
now, were you doing it just with your buddies at school?
With my buddies,
on
the weekend.
On the weekends, okay.
On the weekends.
Yeah,
we go hang out.
Still going to school.
Yeah,
like
I was
doing
good kid.
okay.
I went to seminary and institute. Well, not then. I was 13.
Okay.
But
Right.
Still,
But soon enough.
Yeah.
Soon
But
enough.
yeah,
Okay.
so-
we're getting right into the culture now, Zac.
exactly. So
Right.
I lived my life, and I kind of went through things. And one time I was high, and I was in kind of a meditative state, and I was just thinking about my life, and I'm like, what do I want to go on a mission? And I'm like, yeah, I really think I do. And I'm like, I need to find out if the church is true. And so I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do that. And I stopped smoking because I felt like that's what I needed to stop doing.
That was holding you back.
But in my mind at that time, I'm like, this is something that's just not a good thing. It's smoking and it's bad for me. And I needed to do what I should. And I did. And I went on a mission and I did really well. And I looked fondly on my cannabis times, but I didn't feel like it was necessarily the right thing for me to do. And then as I lived my life, I went to college and I did all those different things, and I started to open my mind a little bit, and I learned about libertarianism and about freedom and about the rule of law. And I started to think, well, why don't I use cannabis? And I'm like, I really enjoyed it when I was younger, and it helps with my pain. It helped with all these different things. And I heard of medical cannabis before, but it never really made sense to me because I had so much against it. There was so much in my hometown. I grew up in a little farm town of about 1,500 at Lewiston, Utah.
Oh, yeah.
And where's that at? Where's
it's right on the Utah-Idaho border.
Okay, so up north a little bit.
A mile away from Idaho, we touch Idaho. My mom is from Preston, and so it was just a neat little small community, but just not a lot of experience with cannabis other than the people that were underground, and, it was the black market, and so it was kind of dangerous and it was scary, and I enjoyed it while I smoked it, but the negative experiences I had were when, oh, is that a cop? Or, do I smell like weed? Or, oh, what's going on? And it was always stigmatized and made it seem like it was a bad thing, when in reality, it made me not have pain. It made me not be stressed out. And I felt like I was the real me.
Yeah. You felt like, man, this is great. I'm not stuck in this little shell that
right.
I'm not allowed to come out of. Yeah.
Doctors have prescribed me Adderall and Prozac and all these different things to try to help with life and different challenges that we all face. And the only thing that never had a really negative experience for me, other than the stigma of the illegality of it, was cannabis.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So how'd you get back into it? Right? Because it looks like, from your story, you've got this break.
Right.
But then you're educating yourself, and when did that kind of come back?
So basically what happened with me is I lived my life, and I felt like I was doing what I should, and I went to school to be a nurse. I was a CNA for 5 years, and I worked as an aide with people that were quadriplegics and also hospice, and just tried to do what I could to give back to the world. That's one thing with my eye that I learned, is that as I suffered, I wanted to take away the suffering of others. So as I did that, I started to learn a little bit more about cannabis. And so I got into it that way. And I think with Colorado becoming a legal state, I think that's what kind of drove me. So around when I was 25, I started doing that. And I drank a little bit, and I kind of lost the real Zac for a while. And actually, during that time, I got married, and we loved each other, and she was an amazing woman. But ultimately, my wife was prescribed Ambien for her sleeping issues. And it ended up changing her brain chemistry, and she ended up taking her own life because of the Ambien. And so after that, I went into a spiral and just started drinking, became just this alcoholic. And I had an amazing opportunity. My cousin offered me a job as a plumber, and I never really thought of becoming a plumber, and it just made sense. And I became a plumber, and I kept drinking, and I kept trying to figure out my life, and I was just struggling for years and years. And then I actually had a moment. I was using cannabis again, but I had a moment where I had an opportunity to use mushrooms. And the mushrooms helped me realize that I was not being true to the real Zac, that I had lost the man who I was on my mission, and the man who, the light, the truth, the good version of who I was. And I was letting the darkness and the sadness of the loss of my wife control my life. And I just had an epiphany and just a moment where I was like, you know what, I need to completely change this and be a true version of who I am. And from that day forward, I've tried to do better. And on 4/20 of this year, I've been 3 years sober from alcohol, and I am now off all prescription pills. I was on 6 different pills to help me sleep, to help me with my PTSD from my wife passing, and from my eye injury and from all the different traumas that we experienced throughout life, you know, and my back pains and my different nausea and just all the different things that life has. And, you know, we have a tool now, and I want to free this weed, or not this. I don't like calling it that at all. It's a beautiful herb, and it's changed my life. It's helped me find my savior. It's helped me find my balance of the darkness and the light, and to be the true version of myself.
Where do you think you would be, man, if you would have kept on that path, man?
I would be dead. I was suicidal.
Yeah.
I didn't want to be here. And the only thing that helped was my family and my savior and this beautiful plant, you know, because when my migraines will start pounding in my eyes, and even with like a hot compress on both sides and pills, I hate pills. It never really did it, but with certain strains of this cannabis, it's amazing. And within the last 3 years, I started really utilizing the full spectrum, and to use hemp and CBG and CBC and CBN and Delta 8, and just to use the shotgun method, and just to say, take this body. I'll show you, you know, and it really it's been amazing, because at first it was overwhelming with cannabis, but now my body, I have a high tolerance, which can be annoying to some people who are recreational, but as a medical patient, it's amazing, because I can function. I can go throughout my day and I'm not high. I can live my life, you know, and it's an amazing herb that as needed, you can dial it in, and you can take a concentrate, or you can take an edible, or use a salve. And we need to maximize the options for the patients, and for really just the patients. Like we're the ones that need the help. And I know that everybody else needs help too, but we're suffering, and some of us don't always want to be here on this earth, and we need to have an option to have peace. You know, that's why God gave us this.
Yeah. You bring up an interesting point about tolerance. So a lot of people, I've been running into this in my practice a little more. Patients who use it, like they'll use a tincture or use an oil, and then they get a little stoned, they get a little high, they feel uncomfortable, and then they stop for a week. And then they decide, well, my pain's bad and I haven't been sleeping for a week again, so I'm going to try this again. Same thing happens. Right. And we've been talking a lot about using it consistently, right? For those times when you have pain, and then over 4 or 5 days, even your tolerance builds a little bit and the side effects go down a little. So talk about that a little bit. Like with you're a consistent user, so you've built up a tolerance. Most people, like Chris was saying, would say, that's a bad thing. You're just using more and more and more. But in your case, the point being, it sounds like the tolerance has helped you use enough during the day to still get things done.
Right. And for me, I've used actually a 50-50 balance of CBD flower and THC flower, so that I have just kind of, it helps with my pain and also with my PTSD, so that I'm not overwhelmed, but also that I still have my pain relief and just anxiety and like the whole spectrum. Even just to have the terpenes from, say, a hemp flower mixed with a THC flower, you get a whole nother experience to have those two. It's like a fruit punch.
Yeah. And so you're making your own, because we talked to this about,
and with Trevor
last week
as well.
Yeah, you can't buy CBD flower.
Nope.
That's grown here, right?
No, I've actually been to farms. I've done trimming and been with it was a CBD Buds Hemp Symposium, and it was a Great Basin Hemp Co-op Anyway, with all those people, we were out there trimming their flowers, and yet we couldn't buy them. We couldn't say, hey, you know what?
That's
I
horrible.
love what
Even
you
it's
guys are
lower
doing.
lower than 0.3 THC, right? It's been tested by the Department of Agriculture.
And the
it's
2018
legal,
Farm Bill.
right? And you can't, and yet you can't buy that. But
Yep.
you can, but
maybe through a third party, if you go to Nevada
Sure.
and order it from there, then you can maybe pick up great Utah flower. But other than that, no, the state legislature is doing backflips to stop this industry from booming. Whether it's the small the pharmacies that are whatever grow ops
Right.
that are able to
The grow. Yep, 8
Like, what is
growers.
that about? Like, why can't we if I'm a medical patient, why can I not have my own cannabis in my own home? Or why can I not have a grower that is ordained by the state, allowed to grow? Like, it just seems so counterintuitive. And yet, when can we have a forum where all these patients can just show up in the legislature and say, I'm a patient, fix this today?
Right.
I think it's more that they're scared than that they're trying to see it fail. Don't you think, like, Tim?
Yeah, I mean, they want it to. I think the people who voted for it, the legislatures who voted for it, they want it to succeed, right? The Department of Health wants it to succeed.
But I feel like they keep putting these weird things in line that makes it, because I think like home grow scares them because they think, well, then we won't have any control over it.
Yeah, trackability, control. It's a big deal. Look at the liquor. The liquor laws are similar.
Yeah.
Can people do home brew though here?
Yeah, we can make our own.
that's a good
but
point.
we can't make our own liquor though. You can't legally make your own.
I'm not
Right,
making
you can
concentrates. I just want to grow my own herb.
Yeah, but
No.
us three, we know
Right.
that it's not that, THC, that marijuana cannabis isn't horrible.
Right.
But
Well, even hemp
people up
is
at Capitol
difficult to
Hill,
grow.
Hemp,
we might as well
we
be
talked to
making
Trevor
meth,
last
really.
week, and apparently hemp is extremely difficult
Right.
to grow because the plant
I've tried.
does what
I
it
want
wants.
to.
Corey Andon, we were with her last night at a QMP training, and she was talking about these. The plants just do what they're going to do, and you might plant seeds that start out low THC but end up high. At least end up high in the
Right,
last
or they're
30 days.
stressed.
So are you making like a spliff, like a mix?
It's kind of like a cannabis hemp spliff, I guess you could say. I've
cannabis hemp
actually
spliff.
cut out.
So that's a bad term because it means tobacco
I don't
and
smoke
cannabis.
anymore. I actually I bought a PAX 2 vaporizer 5 years ago, and that sucker has saved my life. I save my ABV, and I make a tincture out of that. And it's allowed me to enjoy it and yet not to combust it and to get all the terpenes and to understand the medical benefits of this plant. It's not just, whoa, I feel weird. It's, I can feel this kind of go like a ride. It's like a river, like you're going with whatever the plant's trying to show you this one time, whether it's a Durban potion or whatever, There's so
Durban
many different,
poison.
Right. I'm getting my CBD strains mixed up.
Yes, you are. But man, what a good strain.
It's amazing.
So
I love those
where are you going to
sativas.
educate yourself, man? Like, just because you
Leafly.
sound very knowledgeable here with the terpenes, and all the different.
I've gone pretty hardcore into the hemp and cannabis world lately. Being sober, I'm me again, and it's actually helped me be a better version of me.
Mm-hmm.
And so as I've gone online, I've looked up Leafly. Leafly's been a great resource, and then Weed Maps has a lot of good stuff. And anytime I'll get a new strain, I'll be like, I want to know what this is. I want to know how it works. And just as I've been medicating, I've noticed I feel a certain way. And I'm like, why do I feel this way? And I've wanted to understand it. So I've Googled it. I've gone to Wikipedia. I'll hear about I've just heard about CBG about a year ago. And I was really into that. And I love that one as well. It's a little harder to come by. But yeah, every single one of these little cannabinoids have just shot off a little fire, and every single one I've loved. There hasn't been a cannabinoid that I've been like, dang, I don't like that.
Right.
It's there's always something positive when you need it. And
Sure.
Even the flavonoids are 3 times more potent than aspirin. Things like that have driven me to a healthier way, because even IHC, when I was at the Bountiful Clinic, I talked to 3 different people and they had me in tears. And I told them I have PTSD from my wife passing, and you guys don't even care. I want to get off these pills. What is your motivation? Why are you not letting me do this? And they just said, we're not allowed to do that at our facility at this time. And I said, the law's passed. What more do you need? And it just blew my mind. And I hate to be that person to call someone out, but come on, guys. We're
Or
patients.
you talking about to get your
you're talking
to get my
about-
recommendation
you
letter.
went
I had to
your
shop for a doctor.
That's right.
To
Yes.
get the help. I love my doctor now. He is amazing, and it's surreal to have the honesty. That's one thing I wanted to bring out about this, is just to come out and just be honest with who you are, whatever it is, whether you're this guy or that guy or whoever. Like it's so liberating to be able to just be real and to just not have any guile or anything about it. You're just doing your life. You're just trying to take your vitamins and live right, and I'm trying to eat better and take probiotics and prebiotics and multivitamins and CBD. And I think everybody should have CBD. And,
you bring up, all this sort of stuff. We talk about this all
mushrooms,
right?
all that.
Eat your fungus.
Right. Even the reishi or whatever it is, and the lion's mane. And, there's so many different kinds of healthy microbes and just things that our ancestors ate and used. And yet we go to Walmart and say, why do I feel so crummy? It's because we're not eating real things. I grew up on a dairy farm, and to be able to go out to the farm and just scoop up your milk that you helped milk that day.
That's the best milk ever, man.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Or to have your own garden, to be able to grow your own vegetables, your own zucchini, and say, here you go, neighbor. Or to go to the farmer's market and say, here you go, guys, we had a little extra. Or to do that with cannabis or to hemp, to just go to your neighbor and say, I know that you've been struggling. I made this tincture. I hope that this can help you so you don't have to hobble, so you can live your life, and that's what we need to get these people to realize. It's not a bunch of hippies out there rolling J's and singing songs about freedom and hippiness. And
well, sometimes
I'll tell you what, dang on the hippies. Hey, Hank, you preepy passing girl, you done smoke a dang on J. Dang a Dale. I better not do my voices.
No, I love it, man. No, it's man, one day.
It's refreshing, though, right? Like it's refreshing to be around somebody who is true to themselves.
That's all you can be.
You mentioned
you just live your life. And if you're not doing it for your own benefit and for the benefit of your better man, why do you live? Like, why are we focused on the negativity? Why not focus on how each other are doing? How are you guys doing? Here I am talking about me.
Yeah, I'm doing great, man.
No, it's great.
Well, I was curious. You were saying it took a while for your family and friends to come around, but you still went. I mean, did they disown you?
No.
Were they like thinking you were a drug addict?
I think it's just education, like for myself and for others. At first, it was recreational, but in reality, there is no such thing as recreational marijuana. It is doing its magic. It is doing its medicine.
It's always
at all times
acting like medicine.
Yeah.
Whether you're taking it whether you think you're taking it for some reason.
Right.
Right. It's always acting.
Exactly. And so nobody really felt like it's hard in this society at times to feel like you're acceptable, because there is a certain idea in everybody's head, whether it's imaginary or not. It seems like in certain groups, if you don't live a certain way, if you're breaking, like, say, the word of wisdom, you're not quite up to that standard. And I didn't quite feel like up to that standard for a certain time. But I came to the point to where I was okay with myself. And now the church has actually come out with a stance in saying that they support medical cannabis. They don't quite support the vaporizing, I don't believe.
Right. Yeah. They've come out kind of against the inhalation.
Right.
They want the other methods to be tried first, for sure.
And I think that's about education.
What actually on that note though, they wrote a letter, I know, to discourage people in Arizona though to vote recreational, which is
they
kind
don't
of
like the adult use.
But that's if it's state law.
If it's medical, they seem to be okay. But they said for recreational, I think it's to seek to have a good time, or like it's like doing whippets. They don't want to see the Elders Quorum president up there doing. I don't know.
I mean, I get that point, but it's still kind of like, come on.
No, and I think the biggest issue right now is that so many people are hurting, and the availability is an issue, and also being stigmatized from different people. Whether even if it is legal, you've heard about the UHP giving people problems in Wendover or in different places, even with the medical letter or the card, and I think that has to stop. And I think also we just have to share the knowledge and the science, and that's on us. If we know, like for myself, like I'm just a plumber. I'm just a guy that's been working out, trying to make money and live my life. But here and there, I've gone to the hemp fields and I've gone to try to help people. And I think as we have our opportunities, whether it's on Facebook or even just little opportunities with coworkers or with our friends and family, like it's so important to just take that opportunity and to take that chance to be legal and to be legit and to maybe not be in pain. There's so many people that are on pills unnecessarily or that just suffer with why, when there's already a medical program.
Okay, so
Right.
the cost of the product could be one of the barriers,
Right.
because you were talking about, hey, just feel better, right? There's a program to give it a shot, right? Go talk to somebody who knows about it. Go give it a shot. But then we come back to this cost issue. So do you feel like as a plumber, right? Can you afford your medicine in Utah's pharmacies?
Do I somehow survive? Yes, I somehow survive. But no, it is extremely unaffordable right now, especially when the black market is out there. And I'm not saying anything about anything, but it's just,
That's okay.
It's unfair.
You know what it is.
It is what it is.
We know that there's not enough flour at a cheap enough price
and
for
the
people to
quantities.
buy it. And
You can only get eighths at a time.
If there was $200 ounces,
Right.
then there certainly wouldn't be enough flour.
I'm going to
in
also
Utah.
be honest here. The last couple times I've been buying stuff, the quality here in Utah is not very good. Like it's gone downhill.
There's been moments. I've
there's
seen
been
some
moments.
Bovita bags in some of them, actually,
Yeah.
which really impressed me. I think it was Trike.
Oh, yeah. Those little humidifier
Right.
things. Yeah, those are great.
And those have been really frosty. It's just my issue is the quantities.
Yeah.
And to have something like, say, I have X amount of dollars for the month and I have whatever flour is sometimes there, isn't always there. I hope the minis are there so I can afford my flour. And if not,
Right.
I guess I'll try the gummies, even though they don't really work for me. But
We talked about this last night. The bioavailability
Right.
of edibles is like
rough.
30 to 50% compared to inhalation.
Well, it's a completely different cannabinoid too. That's the 11
Right,
hydroxy
right.
cannabinoid or whatever.
So what do we do about this, Tim? We need more
Well, I'll tell you,
growers.
I've got some pictures on my phone, and we got to go down to Payson to look at the grow operation of Zion.
Oh, I've been watching it on Instagram. He's been posting them on Instagram. Yeah.
I mean, the guy, it's coming.
Well, you probably have more.
That's what I'm
though.
saying.
You probably have more.
But we got to go around, Chris, and we've got to get these guys on record saying that they're going to produce more flour, and when.
Right.
That who's going to produce more flour?
Trike, Wholesome,
We'll volunteer. I know a ton of trimmers.
Trike, Wholesome,
different people.
Zion. We've just got to get their farms. I don't think Wholesome's actually growing yet.
So wait. These farms don't want to grow?
No,
then?
they want to grow. They're just not. They're not up and running.
Why?
Trike is, I think, the only place. I think Dragonfly sold their license. That's the kind of rumor that's been
The sun is
around
free.
twice.
I don't know why it's such a big
Yeah,
deal.
the sun is
just do
free.
a greenhouse and do some sunlight depth perception or whatever.
Right, I know
see,
some- yeah.
that's logical.
I could fit
That's
it. Yeah.
logic. We're in Utah. This
We're in the
doesn't,
we got to
soil
come
and
back
dirt
to the
and water.
right?
little bit of
it
compost.
is kind of scary though, man, because we even down in Provo at Deseret Wellness, they're not growing. They're just selling. So
they're just
who's
selling.
growing then? Oh, we got all these places selling, but nobody's growing.
It's true.
And then in 3 months, we're not allowed to go out of state.
They got rid of Redbeard Farmer.
Yeah.
What's he
Yeah.
doing? They need to get him.
I know
going
we need to
somewhere.
get him down. If anybody knows Redbeard Farmer, we need to bring
I'm
him
friends
on.
on Facebook, but that's about
Yeah,
all.
bring
I know.
him on the podcast. We need to hear
Yeah.
the real story.
That would be
There,
awesome.
right?
He's a great grower. Beautiful
Yeah, he
buds.
is. He is.
What about you, Zach? I mean, do you see yourself? Would you like to get in? Like, would you like to go big with this and like make it a job, or do you just
That's
like
my retirement
Do you just
dream.
like consuming?
I would love the chance to let this herb teach the world and to teach me different phenotypes and hidden things that no one's seen, like not purples, but say hot lavender. I don't know, just to find what this herb can offer. And so if the law abides and if I had an opportunity, I would take it up in a heartbeat. But it's just understanding and building your knowledge is the biggest key. And I love hearing different growers like Ed Rosenthal, Jorge Cervantes, Danny Danko, and, Adam Dunn, and just all these different people, Big Buddha, just all their ideas of how to grow this plant. And yet they're not wrong, but they're not right. They all have their different points of view.
Sure.
And it's just like the world. And it's a microcosm of our world, and how we take care of this cannabis plant shows how we're taking care of the world. And I love organics. I love veganics. Just the fact that as you nurture this plant, just like as you nurture a human soul, it blossoms, and we see the light, and PTSD turns into post-traumatic growth. And with my wife passing, it's been something that I think of daily, and I love her, and it's been hard. But with the cannabis, and with also my faith, and with my family and my current wife, we've been able to work past just the struggles of life, because it's going to happen. Life will happen, just like they say on Jurassic Park, life will find a way. And there's always going to be something that's going to happen that's going to be hard. And, we just try to work through it, and we try to keep our eye on the goal, whether it's the good eye or the bad eye, you never know. You keep moving forward until your vision's right.
Do you have a favorite strain or what are you enjoying these days?
I like the lamb's breath.
Okay.
The lamb's breath is amazing. Durban poison is amazing. The Kushes, got to go with the Chem Dog. I'd love to try some of the older ones, like say what was it? The red, I'd love to try just some of the older the land races.
Sure.
Let me think of another good one. Tie stick. Tie stick would be amazing. I know that's an actual strain. It's not just the actual tie stick. There's a tie strain. Yeah, just all of those amazing sativas that were the early land races are amazing.
Are you you're a sativa guy?
I love those, and also the indicas are good too.
They're all
It
good.
depends.
It's all
They
good.
really are. They really are all good. But look, when people are listening to this, they're going to be. I think you're going to have people that are really mixed, right? They're
Right.
like, wow, here's a guy who's really true to himself, has faith, and has really just come around, and they're really going to enjoy listening to the openness about it.
Right.
And you're also somebody who knows a shit ton about weed.
I've
Right?
had a
Like,
long time.
You've
It's
had a
23
long
years.
and you're somebody who's serious about it.
Right.
You know some strains. You know how you like to use it. You've got migraines, so you use it a certain way.
Even
right?
the CBD
You're
has
using
been
it as a
amazing.
tool,
Oh yeah.
right? Because okay, it's like my plumber's toolbox, right? I got my cannabis toolbox over here. I got some indica, some sativa. It's daytime. I got a migraine. I need to go to the 5/16 socket
Exactly.
with the 2-inch extension.
Yep.
That's what I need.
A little dope of dab. Well, that's the thing though, is as you go to your dealer on the street, they'll say, here's this weed number 5. I'm not sure what it is, and I hope you like it. And you can't treat it like a medical device. And it's hard to truly understand what you're doing, because you may be hitting yourself on the head with a pair of crimpers when you should be closing the water off on a pipe, metaphorically. Your
Right.
body has, there's a system to our bodies. Our endocannabinoid system teaches us about ourselves. And when we have deficiencies, when our body doesn't have enough of, say, whether it's CBD or CBG, we may feel extra pain or not feel right. And so it really can help us find that balance, as you get that tuned in for your own self to say, you know what, I feel like today I need to have a little bit more CBD or a little bit less. And you'll get to the point to where it's almost like a second nature type thing.
How long did it take you?
3 years.
How long did it take you to get off your meds?
Oh, to get off my meds. I started.
Well, that's 2 questions, right? It took
No,
you 3
you're good.
years to figure out the cannabis is
for
medicine,
the alcohol. That took a while. But when 420 came around, I just was like, what? That's a special day. Cannabis has helped me. I know that. And I know I can stop. And so anytime I wanted to have a beer, I would just smoke a bowl. And so I would just go into my room, and I had that. And I also actually got some plain Jane. They look like cigarettes, and they're actually full flavored hemp. And I would smoke those on job sites, and I would just do what I would try to be discreet, but it was hemp and it was legal within all 50 states. But I don't know. I stopped using those because I stopped smoking cigarettes, and I quit cigarettes with hemp. And also with vaping, and I was vaping nicotine, and I stopped vaping nicotine with vaping cartridges. And so it was an easy switch, but it still was hard at times. And cannabis just kind of gave me that extra boost. And even the hemp, it really made that extra balance. I can't even explain it. People say it's diet weed and it's not that powerful, but I've found some that have like 10 different minor cannabinoids and 2% terpenes, and it's
and a little delta
potent,
8 apparently.
Right? There's some out there.
Yeah.
It's out there.
What would you tell somebody who's listening that might be a little like nervous and skeptical? They've never tried cannabis. Maybe they have something similar like you do, but they're afraid to try it. What would you tell them?
Go to Google. I started finding out about legal hemp through this guy. What was his name? Taz. He did these reviews on black tie CBD and all these other different CBD brands. And he was really animated. But he was saying, yeah, this is all legal. I'm smoking legal. And I'm like, what? Like, you can buy hemp? And that's when I started to kind of be like, yeah, CBD is real. And I was using the oils, but I found him to be hit or miss because the potency wasn't always there. And I didn't always trust their COAs. But with a lot of these hemp flowers that you buy online, you can just go to these lists like CBD Buddy, and there's like a hemp list and all these different things of just these farms where they've made quality hemp from Oregon, from New York, and just all over. And it's amazing.
And they can ship those to Utah, but you can't buy Utah.
They can ship them to Utah.
I've been buying them for years.
Totally fine.
But you can't buy it from here.
Yeah, you can't buy it from here. And thank you for including CBD flower in your discussion about medical cannabis.
It's all connected.
Right? It's all connected.
Right.
It's not just going to the pharmacy and buying 22%,
sometimes
Sunday drivers.
And the terpenes.
There is. Yes, there is times for the 22%. Right. Certainly. Right? We've got to find the guy behind the waterfall.
22% CBD and CBG as well, though, and CBN and CBL. I say let's open the floodgates. Let's make Utah the new Mecca per se for cannabis, and hemp.
Right, all of it.
Because there's so many farms. I know there was a farm up in Cache Valley that had to destroy their crop because it was hot, and yet it couldn't be used in the medical industry when we're having a shortage, and when a cartridge for half a gram is $55. Give me a break. I'm not trying to be rude to these guys. They do great work. It's amazing flower and amazing products. But we're hurting, guys. Yeah. We'll do part-time. We'll do free volunteer work to get these prices lower. And I know that there are thousands of us out there. When these letters are converted into cards by January, and there's going to be a lot, and it's going to double or triple or quadruple. You're going to be shocked at how many people's grandmas and cousins and people are going to come out of the woodwork because they're going to say, hey, this guy used to be a drunk, and now he is living a good life, and he's not a jerk, and he's nice, and he works hard, and he's happy. Like, how can I get that? That's like
how can I feel better?
Proverbial goal of life,
right? Everybody who leaves this place too is just happier,
right?
Right? You can't leave the dispensary.
That's why it's called
sad.
Being high.
You can't.
You're uplifted.
Right. Uplifted.
Anything virtuous, lovely, or a good report, we seek after these things. Why is that not something that registers in people? Oh my goodness.
Dude, I am so glad that I got you on here. We should have got you on. I mean, I guess it's, we got you on now. But,
you're under 30.
Yeah, under episode 30.
Well, technically I'm 36, but no.
Nice.
I like this guy. We'll have to bring him back through. I think that's a pretty good place to end the show. Was there any more questions you wanted to talk to him about,
No.
Tim? Or was there anything that you were hoping we'd get a chance to talk about? I mean, we got a good synopsis of your story. And I mean, even the way you ended it there, like, hey, you know what? This is you are a perfect example on how cannabis can change your life. It's not going to, you're not going to end up in a gutter without a job and on heavy drugs.
Yes. It's an exit drug. It's uplifting. It can be used for good.
Yeah,
I like that exit drug. Is that used a lot in the medical field? Exit drug, or is that something you just coined right now?
I'm definitely not I'm definitely not coining that. I'd love to have came up with that, but it is. We consider it an exit drug.
Get rid of the gateway drug crap.
Right. It's not a gateway drug.
Yeah. get rid of it. But hey, so Tim, got to tell the listeners how they can get a hold of you, buddy.
Oh, yeah.
And if they need to get cards or anything like that,
yes,
man.
cards, letters. If you need help converting your letter to a card, we've been reaching out to your QMP and helping them learn how to register you in the system. UtahMarijuana.org is really how to get a hold of us. You can chat with us there online, call us anytime. We have people essentially standing by all the time to help every patient in Utah, whatever you need.
Anytime, even 3 a.m.
You know, we have a little schedule of somebody who's answering the phone, and I cannot guarantee they will get back to you at 3 a.m. But
oh man,
can I say one thing?
Yeah.
I know that it's easy to get frustrated, and I even saw myself in that podcast get frustrated. And I know a lot of these people are working hard. It's their blood, sweat, and tears. Thank you guys, for all that you've done. We've come so far. We have so much further to go. But let's be positive. Let's love each other and not let the negativity divide us. I think that as we move forward and as we talk to and educate those around us, we're going to have a great program that's going to make other states jealous.
Do you have an email address, or how can listeners, if a listener wanted to reach out to you, man, like if they wanted to connect, is that possible at all? Or,
I'm on Facebook.
Or can they connect with you on
Zac
Facebook?
King.
Okay.
And then also ZacNKing@gmail.com. And yeah, I'm on Instagram. I do that for fun. I've posted some of my things that I've done as I've gone to the hemp farms and
nice.
I'm hoping a listener, might have a similar story. Maybe they're struggling.
Yeah,
they can
and
reach
I'm
out
happy
and you
to
can,
share.
you can help,
And I don't have like hours upon hours to devote because I do have a wife.
Oh, yeah,
and
sure.
Cute little pups. But I'm happy to help those that don't quite feel comfortable or that understand. And I lost my wife, and it haunts me, and it's still hard. But that's what I've learned is how precious each moment and each person is, and that anybody that's struggling, cannabis can help ease that. But it's not the answer; it's just part of the solution. So yeah, thanks for your time, guys.
Oh, you bet. Thanks for coming and doing the podcast. Make sure to check out my other podcast, I Am Salt Lake Podcast. I didn't talk about this yet, Tim.
No, go.
Yeah, no, it's a podcast.
It's a great podcast.
I mean, we're chatting with anybody and everybody in Salt Lake City.
You got to be up to episode 460.
Yeah, about that. We've been talking to a lot of restaurant owners, so go find that at iamsaltlake.com. We're here every week. Make sure to subscribe in whatever podcast player you're listening to this in. That way it goes right to your smartphone. That way you don't miss it. It helps our ratings out with you downloading it. Leave a review in iTunes if you can. That helps us out too. It also lets us know what you think of the podcast. So,
absolutely.
Anything else you want to say,
Chris.
Tim or Zach?
I actually have a YouTube video.
Oh, you have a YouTube video?
I do voices for fun.
Oh, well, yeah, you do. I heard.
There's an old woman named Marjorie that I forget what she says, but oh dear.
And I'll tell you what, dang old Hank Hill, and I'll sell propane and propane accessories. Anyway, you can just Google Zac King. I'm on YouTube. It's just fun.
We need to get you to make an intro for this show, man. Intro? Like a king of the hill.
Utah in the weeds.
All right, guys. Thanks for listening.
Stay safe out there.